She might be 83, but she's more opinionated than ever. There are no sacred cows for Evita Bezuidenhout, whether it's Zuma, Malema or Donald Trump. Tonight we have a no-holds-barred discussion with Tannie Evita on the state of the world and how important the May 8 elections are. Hello, Evita Bezuidenhout. It's wonderful to see you again. I think you must be, what, 83 years old now, and you're looking fantastic. How do you do it?
Thank you, Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm just
doing a bit of
sticking
sewing.
these torn pieces of paper together because I found this book in a dirt bin in Luthuli House outside the Secretary General's office. So I just thought I'd fix it up because I haven't read it yet and everybody's talking about it. But no,
Fantastic.
I can do that
Can
later.
I borrow after?
No, I'm very well. Yes, 83. I'm 83. Of course you can.
Okay. I mean, what do you think is going on? I mean, we're seeing anarchy in bookstores. We're seeing rising troubles on the streets over service delivery. You really feel that the atmosphere is cranking up ahead of the elections?
They do that every time there's an election. It is part of the selling technique of politicians. I'm very worried about the books. I mean, books to be torn up in a shop, it's so unnecessary. They just have to pay for the book and read it or go to the library. But I think so many of the ANC Youth League know where the cheese and the wine is, so any excuse to go and have free cheese and wine. Of course, service delivery is a terrible problem because I think it really is the fact that everybody's being careless. There's no reason for lack of service delivery. You just do it and get on with it. And I'm very much on the side of people. But really to burn down libraries and also to put burning tires in the streets when people can't go to their work also isn't a solution. But let's get this election over with quickly. At least we're not having Brexit. Our election will happen on the 8th of May of this year.
I mean, you must think that poor Theresa May and her team must be screaming in agony every time. It goes right down to the wire, doesn't it?
I can't believe that a democratically elected government in the United Kingdom can behave like a third world country. Do you know, I look at Donald Trump and what he's doing in America, and I look at the Brexit nonsense, and I'm grateful for Julius Malema, my lieve aarde. You know, of course we have problems in our democracy, but all of our problems can be solved. And so I'm very optimistic and positive and a little bit superior when I look at the British breaking news and Brexit moves on and moves on and moves on. Sis toch, dis 'n groot gemors.
Yeah, it is. Yes, and it's good, isn't it, when something makes you feel better about your situation at home, because it's looking a little worrying at the moment. Those corruption allegations. It seems that you know, everybody in leadership is up to something that they shouldn't be.
Do you know, it's a very interesting point, that, because we are, I think, a very successful democracy going into our 25th year. And yeah, corruption is part of policy and politics, but at least we know about it, Jane. We talk about it, you talk about it live on television, and that means we have freedom of expression, something we never allowed in the old South Africa. And you know that I'm a successful product of state capture between 1948 and 1994, and I can tell you we controlled everything and did everything our way. But now, of course, things are democratic, and we must just balance the fake news with the real news and not get so panic-stricken, because politicians use fear to frighten us and to make us silent. And ek is te oud. I am too old to be silent. I have got 3 grandchildren who have challenged me to protect democracy, and that's why I'm still in politics.
And you have black grandchildren. How's that relationship going? That must have taught you quite a bit.
Well, my dear, let me be honest, they're not black, they're not white, they are Barack Obama beige. Yes, it's changed my life, because I never thought that I would be the grandmother, the gogo of 3 new South African children. And they said to me, you just see that you protect democracy, Gogo, so that one day when we need to vote freely and fairly, democracy will still be there in full working condition. That's why I'm a member of the ANC, because politics, the power of politics is not being wielded in Parliament. Ne? I mean, Parliament has now either become a DA parking garage or a playpen for the Teletubbies of the EFF. That's why I am in Luthuli House, where I cook for reconciliation.
And I mean, what a change from the dark days. It probably didn't feel that dark to you when you were voting for apartheid.
Do you know, I think I'm the only white South African who will admit that I voted for apartheid. Yes. But you know, if I hadn't voted for apartheid in those days, I would have been called a communist and a terrorist, and today I would be the Minister of Higher Education.
So what sort of labels should be used to get people to go to the voting booth? What sort of fear should be hanging above their heads?
Do you know, it's so important just to relax for a moment and realize that, first of all, the vote is sacred. Mm-hmm. Second of all, the vote is secret. You know, so many people say to me, oh, I better vote for this party or that party. And I say to them, well, even if they come with their red berets and say, vote for us, say yes, yes, yes. Lie. Lie. Because when you get into the voting booth, you decide who you vote for, and you don't have to tell anybody. Ach, my Scott, you know, I really look at this election of the 8th of May, and I don't even think that it is an election about political parties. Frankly, I don't think any party deserves votes because they all have behaved so badly in the last year, in the last 2 years. Every single one of them have shown greed and lack of care for the people who put them there. But there is one person who has to come out of the election stronger than before, and that is Cyril Ramaphosa. My liewe aarde, he is on the ANC ticket. It's not about the ANC ticket, it's about him. Let us support him to clean the toilet of politics, because that is what's happened at the moment. And yes, your provincial vote, you choose for who you want to look after where you live. But everybody must focus on the fact that they must do it. Young people, especially young people. Mesa, your vote is your key to your door of the future. If you don't open that door, you will be left behind. Don't be left behind. And really, truly, I think that voting should be compulsory. It should be something that everybody must do, and if you don't do it, you go up a tax bracket. See how you like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. And if especially the young voters don't get what they want in their politicians, if Cyril Ramaphosa is not able to clean up his house, what's the next step?
I hope the next step is not meeting at the Croatian border with a pick and pay bag in our hands. Because, Jane, you know, as a member of the ANC, of course, I can't speak about any policy because as a member of the ANC, I'm not allowed any opinions. But I speak here in a personal capacity as a grandmother and a citizen. And you know, the one thing that really, truly struck me becoming a member of the ANC, which of course makes people laugh. They say it's like seeing Angela Merkel as a Greek bank manager. But you know, I walked into Luthuli House with all the prejudice that all of us share, for good reason, that believing that everybody in the ANC is a crook, that everybody's stealing. Well, yes, I can show you 8 people every day that you put in front of the Zondo Commission. But, my dear, there are hundreds of thousands of members of the ANC who are not corrupt, who are sitting at their computers trying to keep this country balanced so that we have a future to share with our children and grandchildren. There are good politicians in every party, even in that, what do they call themselves, land first, black first, brain last. Even with them, there are good people. We've got to find the good politicians and bring them into Parliament, and let's get this country moving forward.
And it's been a dramatic day, hasn't it, other than the street protests and Cyril Ramaphosa, you know, making an address in Alexandria. But we've had Julian Assange has been arrested, and we know that, you know, the knives have been out for him for many years, and Omar AlBashir has also left in Sudan.
Well, there you have it. You know, if you actually make the stove warm enough, then the chips jump out of the pan. And really, truly looking at Donald Trump. Oh, my dear, I just miss the days of Barack Obama, seeing an African-American family going into the White House by the front door. But then again, you know, every democracy deserves the government they get. 46% of the Americans didn't bother to vote. And look at it, kyk waar sit hulle nou. So let us not come to a situation after the 8th of May, finding out that, that a huge amount of South Africans sat at home because they couldn't be bothered. Be bothered. Otherwise, well, who knows what lies ahead.
And another important election, the Israeli elections, they all turned out in force, didn't they?
The Israelis and the Indians, my machtig, there are billions of Indians all over the place, except the Guptas who are not in India. I wish they'd go back to where they belong. But yes, they all voted. That shows that democracy can work if it is carefully planned and where people get the service delivery of voting booths that work. And I've got great respect for the IEC. I know quite a few of the people there, and they're doing a very good job, and we must support them and encourage people to enjoy the election. Do you know, I got such a shock. My little grandson, well, I don't know if I can say it on television, he said, Gogo, you must tell the world they must get an erection for the election. Which is terribly rude, but it makes sense. If,
and
you don't
if anyone can do it, you can do it.
You're not going to do it. So.
And then,
oh, my Scott, how sweet.
and then for you, I mean, where to from here? I mean, as you were saying, you took all that Gupta money. Are you ever going to send it back, or does that service your trips to London?
My Scott, what nonsense. I didn't get money from the Guptas. I earned it. When they flew those people in for that wedding at Sun City, they didn't want black people to serve them at dinner. And so I just thought, we've got to keep South Africa's image high. So I went and I said to them, I'll be a maid, I'll be a servant, I'll be a waiter. And I put on my apron and I served food. And of course, I was paid union money, which was nice. And so don't say the Guptas gave me money, I earned it. My magdag, the Guptas, ach lieve aarde, how is it possible that one family could capture the state? It started long before the Guptas became a passing word. I think it started in 1990, 10 minutes after Nelson Mandela was freed. People all over the world said, oh, wag 'n bietjie, look at this. Didn't somebody mention BEE? Well, let's go and say we are victims of the system and get the key to the safe. And then let's see what happens. And hier sit ons vandag. So truly, people, we mustn't sit back and think that this happens overnight. It takes planning. So do our homework as citizens. Find where the bad politicians are, which is not difficult. But more important, find where the good ones are and encourage them to do better.
That's our show for tonight. News is next.